In this video, I'll be showing you how I made a nano jungle terrarium. Let's get straight into it. These are glass frameless picture frames, and I'll be using these to build the tank. This is an extremely budget-friendly way of building small terrariums. I managed to get these for a couple pounds each from a hardware store. Although the glass is relatively thin, they will work perfectly for the size terrarium I'm planning. This glass is 2mm thick. Some picture frame glass comes in 1mm. Try to avoid these. Now it's time to start cutting the glass. All you need is a glass cutter, a ruler and a Sharpie. Cutting glass can seem a little daunting to anyone that hasn't done it before, but it's much easier than you might think. I start by marking down the correct measurements for the piece I want to cut. Make sure you do this on either side to ensure you get a straight cut. Then I line the ruler up and stick some tape on the ruler, which will then attach to the glass. This helps keep the ruler in place. Just remember to double check your measurements before cutting. I then take the glass cutter and create an even score down the glass. It's important to do this in one continuous take and not score the glass in the same place multiple times, as this will quickly blunten the glass cutter. To separate the two pieces, it's as easy as taking it to a straight edge and then gently hitting it against the seam. As you can see, I'm left with a perfect straight break. It will take some practice and you will likely screw up some pieces here and there, but being able to make your own tanks is extremely cost effective and a useful skill to have. Just get hold of a few frames and get some practice in, and you'll be there in no time. An important point I should add is that you should cut the glass on a flat, even surface. Unwanted bumps can crack the glass in the wrong place. After I've cut out all the pieces, I like to do a test fit before sanding them. I've made the mistake too many times of sanding and perfecting a piece that turns out to be the wrong size. I should add that you need to be extremely careful with the glass at this stage, as the edges are very sharp. I use some electrical tape to attach all the pieces together. For the most part, everything fits together perfectly and it's ready to be sanded. When sanding, make sure the glass and the sandpaper is wet. This will eliminate glass dust, which is something you definitely don't want to be breathing in. Once everything is sanded and dried, I attach some masking tape on the inside of the glass. Although this isn't completely necessary, you'll be left with a much cleaner look. Just make sure you account for the thickness of the glass, and trim any pieces off accordingly. With everything taped off, it's almost time to assemble the tank. I like to place everything in the correct location so it's easy to assemble. To join the glass, I'm going to be using this marine grade silicone. It's very important you use something that is advertised as fish safe or 100% silicone. Using a silicone gun, I place on a thin bead along the glass. Try your best to make the bead as consistent as you can, and try to work fast and precise but without rushing. Typically you've got about 10 to 15 minutes before the silicone begins to cure. I carefully assemble each piece one by one, gently push them down onto the silicone and then attach them with the tape. At this point it's important to check if everything is squared and in the correct position. I then went on to add a secondary bead of silicone along the inside of the tank. This doesn't have to be as thick as the initial bead, but it's good to do and will help prevent against leaks. Next I like to use a square edge such as this ruler to remove any excess silicone, and then clean it after each pass with some tissue. I repeat this for every joint on the inside of the tank. Alternatively, you can do this with your finger. I then went on to attaching the front piece of glass. This is the piece I took most time with and tried to make it as neat as I could, as it's the only silicone joint that will be clearly visible from the front. I then carefully placed on the top, following the same process as before. I then went on to removing all the tape from the inside. It's important to do this whilst it's still wet. I then left the tank to cure for 24 hours and here's how it looks. It's definitely not my neatest work, but after some cleaning up it should do the job. I should mention that I cut a piece of the top of the glass off before assembling the tank. This is so a wire can be fed through to install a pump. I won't be doing that for this build, but I plan to in the future. Next I take a sharp blade and go on to clean up the tank. The sharper the blade, the easier it will be. Just remember to be careful. I'll put links to most of the materials I've used in the description if you want to try making something like this yourself. With the tank cleaned up, it's almost time to start building. However, an essential thing to do first is to water test it. I simply filled up the bottom section of the tank and left it for 2 to 3 hours. It holds water just fine, so it's time to move on. If it did have a leak, I would dry out the inside and reseal it with silicone. Now it's time to start building. As the glass in this terrarium is relatively thin, I want to try and keep the weight as low as possible. I'm using this coarse filter foam as the drainage layer. It's unbelievably light and can hold a good volume of water, making it the perfect choice for this terrarium. I carefully cut it up until I had a layer that entirely covered the bottom of the terrarium. I should mention I also added a foam mat on the bottom of the tank. This will help level out any inconsistencies on the surface it sits on. I then went on to add a substrate barrier to the back 3/4 of the terrarium. I left the front open as I'm going to be placing these tree fern panels in the foreground. I found these to be one of the best surfaces for moss to grow on, and as I want a carpet of moss stretching along the front of the tank, it was the perfect choice. If you don't want to use these, moss will still grow great on substrate alone. Talking about substrate, it's time to place it in the tank. I'm going to start by pouring a thin layer along the back of the terrarium. I'll put the mix I use up on screen now so you can make it yourself. I only placed in a thin layer which will act as a foundation which I can build the hardscape on top of. Talking about hardscape, here's what I'll be using. These are lava rocks, and I think their fine texture and detail will look great inside this terrarium. I took a good amount of time to experiment with various different layouts and structures until I finally found something I was happy with. It's a very good idea to experiment with multiple different hardscapes before settling on one. After all, once the plants are in, the hardscape is very difficult to change. Here's what I came up with. It's a relatively simple design that I think has the potential to look great once more hardscape is added. This is spiderwood. I'm going to use it to create root-like structures creeping over the lava rock. To attach it in place, I'll be using the superglue and tissue method. I simply tear off a small piece of tissue, wedge it in between the wood and the rock, and then soak it in superglue. Liquid type superglue works best for this. It will only take a minute or so to fully dry, and the result is a strong bond that is 100% plant safe. If you're enjoying this build so far, be sure to give it a like. Now I'm going to add a bunch more pieces of spiderwood that intertwine and follow the natural shape of the scape. I'll secure them the same way I did before. Here's how the hardscape's looking after adding some more spiderwood. I'm very happy with it and it's looking exactly how I wanted, but there's a few things to do first before finishing up the scape. I need to cover up these glue marks. To do this, I'm going to use more superglue and crushed lava rock. I apply some superglue on the area I want to cover, and then sprinkle on some crushed lava rock. It hides it perfectly. Here's the final hardscape. As you can see, I added some more spiderwood and some smaller pieces of lava rock to create a smoother transition from the foreground into the scape. Now I'm going to add some more substrate inside the terrarium. I carefully pour it into the back of the terrarium and then use my finger to gently press it down. I then give the entire terrarium a light spray down before adding the plants. The first plant I'm going to be adding is this hygrophila. It's an aquatic plant that also loves to grow inside terrariums. I start by removing the rock wall and splitting it up into multiple different plants. I'll mainly be planting this in the background to give the terrarium a dense foresty feel. Long tweezers really came in handy here. When this plant is grown immersed, which simply means grown out of water, its leaves will grow relatively large. This isn't a problem and I'll just have to stay on top of maintenance. I trim the roots here and there to make it easier to plant. Now I'm going to be planting some epiphytes. These should not be planted into the substrate. Instead, I wedged them in gaps and cracks around the terrarium. Firstly, I'm planting this Anubias. It's one of my favourite plants to use in terrariums as it requires very little maintenance and grows in compact clumps, making it the perfect accent plant. Even with just a fraction of the plants in, the terrarium is really starting to take shape. I then went on to plant some Bucephalandra around the tank. It's important not to let the plants dry out, so I sprayed them from time to time. Using some superglue, I attached some Bucephalandra to this rock. This won't hurt the plant, but try not to use too much superglue. I then simply placed it inside the terrarium. With time, its roots will grow and find its way to the substrate. I used some more superglue to add some more throughout the scape. Now the terrarium is really starting to take shape. This is Christmas moss. I'll be using this to create a carpet of moss in the foreground of the terrarium. Before planting it, I sprayed the tree fern panel so it was damp. To plant the moss, I trim it up into small pieces and then push it down onto the panel. I then repeat this for the entire foreground of the terrarium. With time, the moss will carpet and grow and fill in any gaps. I like to use Christmas moss as it grows and forms a dense carpet and doesn't tend to reach for the light. However, it is a slow growing species of moss, so patience is key. As this is an aquatic species, it's prone to drying out, so it's important to keep it damp. I also planted some more Christmas moss throughout the scape. I'm hoping this will start to grow and creep down over the lava rocks. As it is, the moss carpet is quite plain, and I want to add some more smaller plants to accent the moss. This is a carpeting plant known as glossostigma. I think it will look perfect growing amongst the moss. I rinse out the nutrient-rich liquid it's grown in and then pull off individual strands which I then plant inside the terrarium. These will grow amongst the moss in the foreground and will create a more diverse and natural look inside the terrarium. Next I'm going to plant some hydrocotyle inside the terrarium. This is a fast growing climbing plant that will have no trouble growing inside this setup. I mainly plant it so it's climbing up the lava rock, but I also plant some on the base of the terrarium to create a more natural and diverse look like I just mentioned. With the planting done, I'm extremely happy with how this terrarium is looking. It's not done yet though. These are springtails. They are tiny bugs that will literally clean the terrarium 24/7. They do this by eating any mould or decaying matter that they can find. What they consume is then pooped out in the form of nutrients which the plants will use to grow. This terrarium would certainly dry up and die if it was left as it is. So I cut out this front piece of glass which I will use as a hinged front panel. To attach it, I'm simply using some tape. This is definitely not the most professional way of doing it, but the tape is very discreet and the glass is very light, so we shouldn't have any problems. Four weeks have passed and this terrarium is doing great. All the plants are showing signs of new growth and there's been very minimal die-off, which is ideal. Although it's growing slowly, the moss has begun to carpet the foreground, and the small accent plants such as the glossostigma and the hydrocotyle are also doing well. As you can see, it sent out roots right through the tree fern panel. As expected, there was a slight mould outbreak a couple weeks in, but the springtails took care of this in no time and there's hardly any mould left. When turning the terrarium round, you can really see just how well the plants have settled in. The hygrophila has sent out new roots all the way down to the base of the terrarium, and its leaves have roughly doubled in size, which is perfect. You may or may not have noticed that I added a new plant, which is this Peperomia emarginella. I like its small detailed leaves and feel it brings some more interest to the scape. I feel this terrarium's still got a lot of growing to do, but I'm very happy with the direction it's going in. Thank you for watching, and let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this build and want to see more like this. Check out this video here for another terrarium build.